One of the biggest transfer news we've had over the last couple of days is Arsenal's interest in Brazil superstar Vinicius Jr. It came to me as a surprise, really. So, Vinicius has just 1 year left on his contract at Real Madrid, and there's been a contract on the table for the past 18 months. But for one reason or the other, especially due to monetary demands, Vinicius has failed to sign that contract. Now, I did my findings and I realized that Vinicius Jr. currently is on 15 million euros a year net after tax, not gross. Now, I also heard that he's demanding for 30 million euros net. Real Madrid, on the other hand, are saying we cannot pay you 30 million euros, but we can do 20. It's fair enough. But Vinicius and his team has failed to sign that contract. And now Real Madrid are in a very, very tight situation. They're in the middle of, do we give Vinicius what he wants? Do we sell him now rather than risk losing him for free next summer? But again, Arsenal are in the picture. They're monitoring very closely. Now, the fact that Arsenal are even interested in Vinicius is a plus for them. Remember that last season they won the league for the first time in 22 years. Winning the league or going on top is not really so difficult, even though it was difficult for us now. But staying on top is even more difficult than going on top to start with. For Arsenal to win the league, I've also said it that Arsenal already have a very decent squad, fantastic squad, one of the best in terms of the top six, even if they don't sign a player this summer. But they've brought in Christos from Club Brugge, fantastic player. His stats were very good. Now, if Arsenal for one reason or the other fail to retain the Premier League next season, which means what they did last season was a fluke. That's what it is. There's no way you want to look at it anymore. But just like Pep was doing when he was at Manchester City, Pep did not just win the league 4 years on the bounce with just signing the same players or with the same squad. For every season Manchester City won the league, Pep had his eyes fixated on who is going to improve this team for us to continue dominating the following season. And that's why he won the league 4 years on the bounce. So that's what Arteta is trying to do. Remember one of the years City won the league, they didn't even have a centre forward. They were working with Phil Foden as a false nine. But they went to bring in Erling Haaland. I've also heard fans say, oh, Vinicius Jr. coming is going to upset the dressing room. It's going to upset their weight structure. Is it the first time? Is Vinicius going to be the first player to come to a club and upset their weight structure? When Mbappe joined Real Madrid, because he joined for free, he was paid a very huge amount of money and he earns very high a week. I heard about 400 upwards a week. Because he's a superstar player. Because he has earned the right to actually be paid that kind of amount. So for Arsenal to even be interested in getting Vinicius Jr., they know what is at stake. They know that they have to pay they need to have 200, 250 million euros to fund that deal. Because first of all, the transfer fee is going to be at least 100 or thereabouts. If you pay him 20 million euros net for 5 years, for instance, that's another 100 million euros. So that's 200 million euros. So you cannot tell me that Arsenal do not know what it takes to fund this Vinicius Jr. deal. And to people who have also said, oh, Vinicius will come when he comes and is earning high. Other players in the team will start saying they should also be earning high. Why that's a possibility? The Arsenal players as well, because they've been starved of so much success, they also want to welcome somebody like Vinicius in their team. Because the more the merrier. Vinicius will obviously improve any team he goes to. Even if he stays at Real Madrid, he's still going to improve the team. If he goes to Arsenal, he's going to improve the team. Arsenal's rivals will be saying, wow, so Arsenal can afford a superstar signing in the person of Vinicius Jr. This is a two-time Champions League winner. Scored in the finals against Liverpool in 2022. Scored the second goal against Borussia Dortmund in 2024. Arsenal as a football club has played in the Champions League final only twice and lost to Barcelona and Paris Saint-Germain. It took them 20 years apart to play in the Champions League final. But Vinicius won 2 Champions League in 2 years. That's the quality that Arsenal are going to bring in if eventually that deal goes through. I don't think that deal will go through. But for people to say, oh, Arsenal should not bring him, this and that. Come on, who will not want a Vinicius in their team? You think Real Madrid, who are even willing to offer him a new contract, don't want him to stay? Vinicius is 26. He can play another 7 years at the highest level. So Vinicius is going to improve any team he goes to. So Arsenal are just locking behind. They are patiently waiting to see how all of this unfolds. Even though I think that Vinicius, one way or the other, will still agree with Real Madrid and then he will stay at the club. But this is a statement of intent from Arsenal that they want to win the league this season. They want to win the Champions League for the first time in their history. So for you guys saying Vinicius coming to Arsenal, the Arsenal players will be angry. They'll be disgruntled to say if you pay Vinicius 500k a week, me to earn 500k a week. They know that with Vinicius, it gives them a very good chance of winning. Imagine a front three of Saka, Vinicius, and Gyökeres. And then you've got Rice, you've got Odegaard, and maybe an Eberechi Eze in midfield. That front line is very scary. So Arsenal fans, dream on. Nothing is impossible. This is a deal that might actually go through, but it depends on different variables. So let's see how it goes.